This is Rostra, the St. Theodore Guerin Junior Classical League podcast, where we bring the lessons of classical study into the light for the benefit of all.
Welcome back to another episode of Rostra. If you've been a fan of Rostra, you're going to recognize the name Stella Kolb. She's done numerous episodes with us. I'd have to look back at the list to see. Do you know how many you've done?
This might be 5 or 6, maybe.
Maybe the 5th or 6th episode. Certainly a return guest, so welcome back.
Yes, thank you.
To Rostra. Fun topic you've got for us today. Talk to us. What is the topic?
Okay, today we're going to be talking about how comic book superheroes are kind of like the ancient Roman gods, specifically Superman and Wonder Woman.
You and I were just talking before we started recording. Some people are going to see the title of this and say, oh, this isn't a serious academic episode. What are you talking about? Comic books. A professor friend of mine, she's retired now. She's a professor emerita, we say, from Indiana University in classics. Betty Rose Nagel has spoken about this very thing. There is absolutely a connection between the ancient mythology and modern day comic books. So what is that connection?
Yeah, sure. Well, really just some of the superheroes exactly like, I guess for Wonder Woman more even, she's ancient Roman goddess, not goddess herself, but very connected with the gods.
Sure, because she is connected, her mythology, and I'm going to kind of use that word with our superheroes, because really you have all these evolved backstories and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So the mythology of Wonder Woman, she's Amazon.
Yes.
Is it right?
Yep.
Which obviously that dates back to the ancient Greeks. We get the Amazons in Homer's Iliad. Mm-hmm. So there's a direct connection there. Mm-hmm. But I think I know where you're going with this. There's a lot more connection than just that, and with the other comic book superheroes as well.
Yeah. Well, when I was researching all of this, one thing that I found that was really interesting is how in the comic books for her, at first they decided that she was just kind of made to appear by Zeus, like her mother made her from clay and then he brought her to life, and then in the later series it was actually supposed to be that he was her biological father. Interesting.
Yeah. I will say I knew some of her story. I didn't remember all of her story. I did read some comics back in the day, I assure you. And just let's talk about that point right there. So you've kind of got one version of her origin story and then another version of her origin story. And you see this, I think, especially of Spider-Man. I mean, how many Spider-Man movies have we had? And I feel like the origin story is slightly different. In the retellings, we've seen the origin story of Batman numerous times in film. And there are some subtle differences. And the same is true with these Greek gods, Greek and Roman gods and goddesses. I've said this for years. People think about these stories and go, oh, well, gods and goddesses, that's religion. And then you immediately start thinking about a book like the Bible or the Quran or something like this. And that's just not what you had. It was really more folk tales. And so even with the ancients, you had lots of different versions of these myths. And so no problem having different versions of an origin story, say for Wonder Woman with the comic books. It really is following in that myth and folk tale tradition.
And then also with Superman being almost exactly like Zeus from he protects the people, Zeus protected the other gods. One of the most powerful superheroes that we can find, leader in a way of all of them, as Zeus was leader of the gods.
And now you're moving to kind of that broader point, I think, where Wonder Woman, maybe there was the particular connection with the Amazons and Zeus and so forth. When you look at these other characters, you are really seeing these ancient gods and goddesses just brought back in different dress. And so while you've got, there's Batman and there's the Flash and, Aquaman and Black Widow and all these, but then there is that kind of one who does seem to be over the whole group, and that's Superman.
Yes.
He's got all the powers. He has got super speed. He's got super strength. He can fly. He's got X-ray vision. And that's Zeus. Right? Now, what some of those particular Zeus did not have, Zeus, we don't have any myths of him, say with X-ray vision or something, but still, the fact that you've got all the power in that one, and so you have this one overarching character. Very much, I think Superman is a Zeus-like character.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's just really interesting to see how the superheroes connect, and how we're still kind of looking for something out of this world, even today a little bit.
Well, we are, and you look at, you look at the statues, you look at the pictures in mosaics and frescoes and so forth, and then you look at comic book art as well. What do you have? You've got really good-looking, fit, strong human beings, right? They're idealized forms of human beings. We know what it means to be strong. Here's a character who's the strongest of all. We know what it means to run. Here's a character who's the fastest of all. And so really it's just kind of amplified human characteristics in these. So what are some other comparisons or similarities between the comic book characters and mythological figures?
Yeah, really I just spoke on those two, but I guess kind of more on Wonder Woman, how she would fight Ares, and then how she was known as Diana, which is also a Greek goddess.
So we also get that in her story certainly more explicitly than the others, because you do have her actually battling Ares, like you said. You got her other name, kind of her alter ego sort of name, Diana. Certainly, that's a Roman goddess. So you get those particular touches there. And I don't know if you thought about it, but you think about Thor, who actually was one of the Norse gods, and then his whole story unfolds in the comic books. Very similar to Norse mythology. And so you've got Asgard, the home of the Norse gods. You've got Odin. You've got Loki. So you've got all of those that are just brought really wholesale into the form of comic books. Why do you think this is? So at the time when these comic books start coming along, early 20th century, by this point, let's be honest, we've got the great world religions are all fully operative. All right, you've got Judaism, you've got Christianity, you've got Islam. Why then do you think, as human beings, we wanted still to go back to those mythological characters and beings and stories? We're not going to the temple of Superman, right? We're not sacrificing to Wonder Woman. We're not bringing in those aspects, but we still wanted those stories.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, since Captain America came out right during the time of World War II, I think that has a great influence in it of like children reading about a superhero fighting the bad guys, and then also their fathers or maybe older brothers fighting off in Europe. So then just seeing that, and then being able to see superheroes fight, and then just kind of all getting together for a good cause, basically. Absolutely,
and you bring up a great one with Captain America and the whole World War II thing. You see, it's inspirational. We like a good inspirational story, and especially for children, to see, I could be like that. And while, let's be honest, in their physical form, and this is no insult to children, but children are weaker. Right? They haven't developed fully physically yet. They're not as strong as they will be. They're not as fast as they will be. And they're aware of this. But to see that and then to be able to run around the backyard or to run around the streets of the neighborhood and act that out, it's a way of kind of starting to live into what they will eventually become as grown adult men and women. So yeah, I think that's very, very cool there. Any other particular connections between comics and mythology you want to talk to us about?
Not really, just what you were saying a second ago. I remember being a little girl and I had the shield and the action figures and the comic book, and I loved the TV show and everything about Wonder Woman. Yes.
Really, I love it. I absolutely love it. And this was a topic perhaps not even for the show, but I think that is so important for children. Imaginative play. And that sort of recreative, really recreating sort of play, that is actually important stuff. Whether you're running around being a firefighter, a doctor, Wonder Woman, or a horse for a day, these are all parts of these identities that kids will try on. They're exploring, they're kind of getting into the mind of somebody else, seeing different perspectives. And then, I think there's a little bit of that lives on in all of us, even as adults. We kind of then want to be the hero. And of course, we may not be flying around in a cape, but we still have plenty of opportunities for adults to be heroes today. So.
Yes.
Yeah, Stella, thank you so much. This is a wonderful episode. And boy, I think there's even more that we could say about this. So thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to Rostra. You may check out all our episodes on Spotify and follow us on social media at GarenJCL. That's at GUERINJCL.